Hello students, I am very happy to welcome you all for this wonderful session. In this session you are going to learn algorithmic strategies. You have learned already what is meant by algorithm in your 11th standard. So I would like to start from the topic itself. What is meant by algorithm? Algorithm, it is nothing but it is a step-by-step procedure to solve a problem. This is what known as here algorithm. From the chapter 4, what are the contents we are going to discuss today? That is what we are going to see. What is an algorithm? What are the characteristics are there for an algorithm, or how to write an algorithm, analysis of an algorithm, complexity of an algorithm, efficiency of an algorithm, asymptotic notation for algorithm. This is what we are going to discuss today. So first, what is an algorithm? Algorithm is a finite set of instructions to accomplish a particular task. If you want to accomplish a particular task, we have to give finite set of instructions. We have to give set of instructions. That is what known as here algorithm. It is a step-by-step procedure for solving a given problem. It can be implemented by a suitable programming language. We can implement the algorithm with C, C++, Java, whatever it is. What is the programming language very familiar to you? Based on the programming language you can implement the algorithm. Algorithms must have input, output and should satisfy the following characteristics such as definiteness, correctness, effectiveness. These are all the characteristics to for an algorithm. It should satisfy the input and the output. The input and output should satisfy the following characteristics. The characteristics are definiteness, correctness, effectiveness. Many characteristics are there. We will see one by one in this session itself. So here data are maintained and manipulated effectively through data structures. Here what is meant by data structure? Data structure is a effective concept to evaluate the algorithms. In that algorithms, in that data structure, the data are maintained and manipulated effectively. And we can develop the algorithm to store, manipulate and retrieve the data from the data structures. We can uh, we can use these algorithms for data structures or arrays, structures, list, tuples, dictionary, linked list, doubly linked list. For this we can use algorithm in data structures. So these are the things we are going to use as an algorithm in data structure. Search. First one is searching algorithm. Searching algorithm, it is nothing but we are going to search a particular element from the given number of elements. For that we are going to use two different algorithms. One is linear search, another one is binary search algorithm. Next one is sorting algorithm. We are going to sort some numbers in ascending order or descending order. Here we are going to, in our lesson we are going to sort the numbers in ascending order only. For that we are going to use bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort. Many sorting algorithms are there. Apart from bubble sort, insertion sort and selection sort, many other algorithms are there. Many other sorting algorithms are there. But in our book they have given only these three algorithms. We will see later one by one. Next one is insert. Insert is nothing but we are going to insert an element within, for the given elements. And next one is update. Update an existing items in a data structure. We are going to update the data structure. Delete, it is nothing but we are going to delete an element from the data structure. From the given numbers from the array. These are all the algorithms we are going to see in data structure. Next one is algorithmic strategy. What is algorithmic strategy? How we are going to define an algorithm, that is called as algorithmic strategy. How we are going to define an algorithm, that is called as algorithmic strategy. The way of defining an algorithm is called as algorithmic strategy. For example, if you want to calculate the factorial for given value n, then it can be done by defining the function to calculate the factorial once. If you want to calculate the factorial number for n, factorial for the given number n, you should give factorial function and iteration. This is what algorithmic strategy. This is how we have to define an algorithm. So the way of defining an algorithm is called as algorithmic strategy. And next one, how the word algorithm derives. The word algorithm comes from the name of a Persian author, Abu Jafar Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khawzrami. From this person name only the word algorithm has comes. The word algorithm has come to refer to a method to solve a problem. And next one is characteristics of an algorithm. An algorithm should satisfy or should have the following characteristics. We will see from here itself. Input, and for an algorithm we have to give input. It should be zero. It should be zero or more than zero inputs to be supplied to the algorithm. And next one is output. After supplying the input, it should give at least one quantity of output produced. It should give at least one quantity uh, produced. And next one is finiteness. Finiteness is nothing but algorithm must determine, must terminate after finite number of steps. After giving number of steps, it should give the output. That is what they are trying to say here. Algorithms must terminate after finite number of steps. After giving many number of steps, it should terminate. Terminate is nothing but it should be finished. It should give the correct result. And next one is definiteness. All operations should be well defined. Within an algorithm, all the operations should be well defined. That is what definiteness. Each and every steps have to be defined very well. That is what definiteness. For examples, operations involving division by 0 or taking square root for a negative number are unacceptable. And next one is effectiveness. Every instruction must be carried out effectively. For solving a problem within an algorithm, each and every instruction must be carried out effectively. We have to give the effective instruction. Next one is correctness. Algorithm should be error free. It doesn't have any error. It should be free. Error free. The next one is simplicity. Your algorithm has a technique easy to implement. If you are developing an algorithm, it should be easy to implement for solving a problem. And next one is unambiguous. Algorithm should be clear and unambiguous. It doesn't have any doubts. If you are going to develop an algorithm, after developing the algorithm, if another person is going to implement your algorithm to solving a problem, your algorithm should be unambiguous, which means it doesn't have any doubts. Each of its steps and their inputs outputs should be clear and must lead to only one meaning. It should have only one meaning. It doesn't have different meanings. Your algorithm input and output should be clear. That is what unambiguous. And next one is feasibility. It should be feasible with the available resources. Within the given available, it should complete the problem. It should solve the problem. That is what feasibility. And next one is portable. The next characteristics of an algorithm is portable. An algorithm should be generic, independent of any programming language or an operating system, able to handle all range of inputs. If you are developing an algorithm, your algorithm should run in any programming language. Your algorithm should run in any programming language, as well as your algorithm should run in any operating system. That is what portable here. And next one is independent. An algorithm should have step-by-step directions which should be independent of any programming code. It doesn't dependent on any particular language. It should be independent of any programming code. Your algorithm should run all programming languages. That is what the last one, independent. And next one is writing an algorithm. Algorithm is not limited to computer. It is a generic one. For each and every process we can write an algorithm. For cooking a vegetable rice, For that we can writing an algorithm. For riding a bicycle, for that we can writing an algorithm. But it should contain input. After giving the input, it should process the input. Finally, it should give the output. That is what the typical process of an algorithm. For example, if you want to make a coffee, first we have to take a bowl with the coffee powder. And next one is boil the water and pour it into the bowl. We have to boil the water, and afterwards we have to pour the powder, coffee powder, into the bowl. And next one is filter it. We have to filter the coffee powder. And next one, boil milk. The fourth step is boil milk, and after that we have to mix the sugar. We have to mix the sugar and filtered coffee along with the boiled milk. And the last step is pour the coffee into the cup to serve. This is what step by step process for solving a problem. This is what called as algorithm. And next one is, they have given a problem. Design an algorithm to find square of the given number and display the result. This is the given problem. For this given problem, you have to write an algorithm. An algorithm for this problem, for this given problem, the algorithm can be written as step 1, start the process. We have to start the process, and we have to get the input as x, and here we have to calculate the square root. So the given input has to be multiplied by itself, x into x, and next one is display the result square, and finally we have to finish and we have to stop the algorithm. And next one is, a difference is there. What is the difference between algorithm and the program? The first difference is, algorithm helps to solve a given problem logically, and it can be contrasted with a program. It is very helpful. Algorithm, it is very helpful to solve a problem logically, and it is entirely different from a program. Program is an expression of an algorithm. Program is nothing but it is an expression of an algorithm in a programming language. It may be C, C++, Java, .NET, whatever it may be. The second difference is, algorithm can be categorized based on their implementation methods, design techniques, etc. We can categorize the algorithm based on their implementation method and design techniques. And next one, algorithm can be implemented by structured or object oriented programming language. The algorithm can be implemented by any programming language. It may be structured or object oriented programming language. And next one is, there is no specific rules to construct an algorithm, which means according to your wish you can write algorithm for solving a problem. But when comes to a programming language, it has some structure. According to the structure only we have to write the program. It has specific syntax based on the language. Based on C, C++, it has some specific syntax. Based on the syntax only we have to write programming codes. And next one, the last one is, algorithm resembles a pseudo code which can be implemented in any language. Algorithm, it resembles a pseudo code. Pseudo code, it is nothing but the combination of high level language. If you are writing a process in if you are writing a language process in English, that is what called as pseudo code. In program is more specific to a programming language. It is specifically describing a programming language. That is what the difference between algorithm and a program. And next one is analysis of algorithm. Analysis of algorithm. Computer resources are limited. Efficiency of algorithm is defined by the utilization of time and space complexity. Here we are going to calculate the efficiency of an algorithm based on the utilization of time and space complexity of an algorithm. So analysis of an algorithm and performance evaluation can be divided into two different phases. One is priori analysis, second one is posteriori analysis. So here priori analysis, it is nothing but, here it is a theoretical performance analysis of an algorithm. Here we are going to just have, or in priori analysis, it is a theoretical analysis of an algorithm. Here the efficiency of an algorithm, which means time and complexity of an algorithm, is measured by assuming that all other factors. In priori analysis, we are not going to run an algorithm with any programming language, just we are going to get the time and space complexity by theoretical aspects. But in posteriori analysis, in posteriori analysis, we are going to run an algorithm by implementation of any programming language. That is what the difference between priori analysis and posteriori analysis. You have to understand clearly, in priori analysis we are not going to run any algorithm, rather than we are going to getting the external factors, or we are going to calculate the time and space complexity of or from external factors. That is what happen in priori analysis. But in the case of posteriori analysis, we are going to run an algorithm by the implementation of any programming language. That is what the difference. In priori analysis, we are going to give theoretical aspects or theoretical definition of an algorithm, but in posteriori analysis, we are going to implement the algorithm as a practical as a practicalized one with the help of any programming language. That is what posteriori analysis. And next one is complexity of an algorithm. Here complexity is nothing but, suppose A is an algorithm and n is the size of the input data. The time and the space used by the algorithm A are the two main factors which decide the efficiency of A. Here complexity of an algorithm is nothing but two different factors are there to define the complexity of an algorithm. One is time factor, another one is space factor. Time factor is nothing but how many number of comparisons while sorting n numbers, how many number of comparisons, key operations the algorithm is going to take. That is what known as here time factor. The time factor is measured by counting the number of key operations like comparisons in sorting algorithm. How many number of comparisons between the numbers to sort the numbers, that is what time factor. Next one is required space. Space is measured by the maximum memory space required by the algorithm to store the numbers and sort the numbers. How many space required by the algorithm, that is what known as here space factor. And it can be divided of two different complexity. One is time complexity, another one is space complexity. The time complexity of an algorithm is given by the number of steps taken by the algorithm to complete the process. Time complexity is nothing but how many number of steps it is going to take to finish the algorithm, to finish the process, to finish the algorithm. That is what known as here time complexity. Next one is space complexity. Space complexity of an algorithm is the amount of memory required. How many memory space from the hard disk is required by the algorithm or for the algorithm. That is what known as here space complexity. And here the space required by an algorithm is equal to the sum of the following two components. One is fixed part, another one is variable part. Here it is defined, the fixed part is defined as the total space required to store certain data and variables for an algorithm. It is not going to dependent by the algorithm. It is independent by the algorithm. And next one is variable part. The second one is variable part. It is defined as the total spaces required by the variables which sizes dependent on the problem. The first one, fixed part. In fixed part, the variables are not going to dependent on the given problem. Instead of that, it is not going to dependent. Instead of that, it is going to independent. It is going to be an independent one. The variables for fixed part is independent one. In the variable part, what are the variables we are going to assign for the algorithm? For the variables, how many space it is required, that is what variable part. But the variable part, variables are dependent on the given problem. That is what fixed part and a variable part. And next one is efficiency of algorithm. Here efficiency of an algorithm is defined as the number of computational resources used by the algorithm. How many number of computational resources used by the algorithm, that is what known as here efficiency of an algorithm. And how to determine the efficiency of algorithm? To determine the efficiency of an algorithm, some methods are there, and the efficiency of an algorithm depends on how efficiently it uses time and memory space. How we can determine the efficiency of an algorithm? To determine the efficiency of an algorithm, how the algorithm effectively uses the memory space and time. That is what method for determining efficiency. The time efficiency of an algorithm is measured by different factors. By different factors we can determine the efficiency of an algorithm. For example, if you write a program for a defined algorithm, you execute it by using any programming language and measure the total time it takes to run. For given algorithm, we have to write a program for the defined algorithm, and after writing the program, we have to execute by any programming language for C or C++ or .NET Java. Like, we can use any programming language for executing the algorithm, and afterwards we have to measure what is the total time it takes to run or solve the problem. This is how we can determine the efficiency of time complexity. Here the execution time that you measures in this case would depend on a number of factors such as speed of the machine. Next one is compiler and other system software tools. Third one is operating system. Fourth one is programming language used. Fifth one is volume of data required. Based on these 5 factors, time complexity can be defined. This is what method for defining or determining efficiency of an algorithm. Next one is asymptotic notation. What is asymptotic notation? Asymptotic notations are mathematical languages or languages used to describe the running time of an algorithm. Or asymptotic notations are the languages or mathematical notations. It allows us to analyze an algorithm running time based on the inputs. How many inputs we are going to give for the given algorithm based on the input. Thus asymptotic notations. These asymptotic notations allows us to determine or analyze the algorithm running time. To here running time, it is nothing but if you are giving 10 numbers to sort, how much time it is going to take to sort the 10 numbers, that is what running time. Next one, 3 different asymptotic notations are there. These are all the 3 asymptotic notations. First one is big O asymptotic notation. Second one is big omega asymptotic notation. The third one is big theta asymptotic notation. The big O asymptotic notation describes upper bound of an algorithm, which means worst case of an algorithm. The big O, which is used to describe worst case of an algorithm. Next one is big omega, which is used to determine the upper bound, I mean lower case of an algorithm. Big omega, which is used to, and it is the reverse action of big O. The big O, which is used to upper bound worst case of an algorithm, but big omega, which is used to describe the lower bound, which means best case of an algorithm. Next one is describes, big theta asymptotic notation. Big theta notation. The big theta notation, which is used to describe average case of an algorithm. Here, if any language, it is nothing. The big theta, it is nothing. The running time complexity of an algorithm is always equal to lower bound and upper bound. The running time of an algorithm which always equal to lower bound and upper bound. It is used to describe the big theta, which is used to describe average case of an algorithm. Here, if an algorithm falls in this case, if an algorithm falls big theta notation, that algorithm time complexity will be always O n log n, which means this time complexity is always lower bound is equal to upper bound. That is what these three notations. And next one is best case, worst case and average case efficiency. Here I am going to explain what is best case, worst case and average case. I am giving a problem. Now I am going to give a problem to sort the n numbers. I am going to give 10 numbers to sort. If the numbers are already sorted, if you are going to use bubble sort algorithm or bubble sort algorithm to sort the numbers, if the numbers are already sorted, if the numbers are already in ascending order, no need to sort the numbers again. So it has best case. Here best case of bubble sort is O of 1. O of 1. If these 10 numbers are not sorted, the case of bubble sort is worst case. At that time, the worst case of bubble sort is O of n. O of n. If an algorithm needs average time, which means n plus 1 divided by 2, n plus 1 divided by 2, that algorithm case is average case, which means big O n log n. These are all the three notations in asymptotic notation, and this is what best, worst and average case efficiency. And next one, some of the algorithms, searching techniques and sorting techniques they have given. For that I will send some videos along with this video. Try to understand those videos. If you not try, if you are not able to understand those videos, after opening the school, I will teach you again with the board itself, because I need board to work out the algorithms based on some formulas. Try to understand those videos also. So students, I hope I hope you all understand these concepts very well. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you again.